look, the craziest story of the morning by a wide margin is this Minnesota Timberwolves thing. Okay? Now, we are not going to be in the playoffs, so we don't have to worry about a chick gluing her face to the court if we play against the Timberwolves. But that could be back in play because Glen Taylor still has the team now. Right? Which, by the way, Glen Taylor got a bad rap on. Can we just make clear with these nutty buddy animal rights people? All right, the freaking chickens had like the avian flu. He had to kill them, but nevertheless, he killed a bunch of chickens, and so now a lady's gonna paste herself to the floor. So if somebody staples their head to the floor in the playoffs this year,
we know why.
Yeah, it's gonna be because Glen Taylor still owes the team, and I love the A-Rod didn't come up in the clutch again jokes about him and this guy Marc Lore who bought the team, and then now so let me just catch you up to date. Glen Taylor was finally, mercifully, if you are a Timberwolves fan, selling the team. Timberwolves fans, they were losers for 20 years. I mean, he's been a bad owner with bad management, and he alienated their favorite guy ever in Kevin Garnett. Okay? He's not a fan favorite there. Yet, nobly, he did not want to find anyone that would buy their team that was going to move it, which is noble, right? You find a lot of these guys, they can be real creeps, right? And they could say, I don't care, I'll give it to the highest bidder. Do you want to move the damn thing to Las Vegas? You can move it to Las Vegas. You want to move it to here? You can move it to here. I mean, that's the way it goes, okay? So he finds this group, which I have a million questions about this that are just things I wonder aloud. Number one, once they decide, and look, we went through this many years ago with Christian Laettner and Brian Davis trying to buy the Grizzlies, and then they didn't have the money, and then that just went away, right? Next thing you know, Michael Heisley ends up selling it to Robert Parra. But I don't understand. Like, as someone who bought a house within the last year, you're vetted, bro. Like, unless you're on some subprime-ish, they want to make sure that you're going to be able to afford this before you can sign up for the loan they're going to give you, right? You got to put X money down, and then you got to turn in what your income is. You got to turn in this, that. It's like, how is that not vetted that much on the NBA side? Like, how do they not have the money? That's what I don't get. So check this out. So they bought it, let's just say, and the numbers are rough. Let's just say they bought the Timberwolves. You come to me, you say, I want to buy the Timberwolves, right? Say, all right, $1.5 billion. They say, cool. We're going to buy it we're going to give you, we want 80%. Glen Taylor was still going to keep 20% of that team. But then these guys that were coming in, A-Rod and that group, they were going to take over the team. You know, and even when we played them in the playoffs a couple years ago, they were sitting on the front row. Mm-hmm. A-Rod and his chick and that whole crew, right? And so they were going to do that. And so then there was like basically like a 3-year run-up, right? So the 80%, 20%, I got to put down. This is kind of like the house thing, right? So I put the 20% down, okay? That's what they did the first year. So the next time around, they got to pay 20% more of the total that they agreed to, okay? So now they had there were all these reports. They had a hard time coming up with that 20%. So that sent up a bunch of red flags everywhere. Everybody's like, oh, no. How are we not even getting the 40 should be easy, right? But they kind of had to scramble together, from what I gather, and got to 40. So now, just to explain this to everybody, they put their money down. They paid 20%, came back the next year, and then they rallied the money together, and now they've got 20% more. So that means they got 40% left, right, to get to their 80. They'll own 80. Glen Taylor will own 20. They couldn't pay. They did not have the 40% and did not round it up to get the 40%, okay? And so there was like an extension made, but then they still did not get the 40%, which leads me to have a million questions, which is, okay, so now you've seen the way the valuations have gone for all these teams. The thing's probably like more like $3.5 billion. So the deal they got was amazing. The team values have gone nutso. Mm-hmm. So the deal they got is incredible. To which I would say, man, if I was already in on this, you would think there's enough rich guys out there and enough people that you could go to that you could rally together. You could just rally it together on the basis of, hey, this is an amazing investment, right? Like, this thing is already worth that. And our price is this. So you're getting to buy it, right? It's like if I already had something. Right. If I already had something, that was worth $500, and I went to you, Roser, and I said, but I'll let you in, like, you know what I mean? You get in on the 150 price. Bro, it's already worth $500.
Right.
You'd be getting the deal of the century.
Yeah.
They have the deal of the century, and they still couldn't round up that money. And there's only a couple things. Either they just lied about what money they had, or they couldn't round up enough rich guys that were they wanted to run the thing. And so maybe you just couldn't round up enough to where there were enough people that wanted to be involved in that, no matter what the cost was, to let those goofies run it and be like, nah, I don't want any part of that. And so now, in the hustle of all hustles, think about this. Glen Taylor sold 40%. They've already made the payments. Those checks are cash, brother.
He finessed them?
That's so
now
crazy.
When he sells his 60%,
oh, man.
he's going to get to sell that at the $3 billion
he finessed.
valuation.
He finessed. Then the price is going up, too.
And that's the other thing. You probably, I think, would give them even more leeway. You'd say, look, we agreed to this deal. I know you say you need a little more time. You got it coming. All right. We'll give you another extension. If I'm Glen Taylor, which is, I think, exactly what happened, he looked at it and went, hold up. No. You've hit your time limit. Now you've hit another time limit. And this thing's worth like $3.5 billion now, and there's no chance I'm giving you that now.
Exactly.
No way. You've had all the time you could have. That deal is gone, brother.
And the team is good now.
Yesterday's
price of the brick's going up.
And so now, when Glen Taylor sells that team, he's going to have that 40% that's sold to them, which is a non-controlling stake, right?
Yeah.
That he sold at basically a controlling stake price. And then the controlling stake, he's going to sell that 60% for whatever 60% of $3 billion is. That's insane.
Glen Taylor got over, bro.
Yeah.
That's insane. And
the
honestly,
Timberwolves are good now.
You can't fumble it worse than the A-Rod group did.
Yeah.
Because you just got that. You got the deal of the century and fumbled it away. Because what you were getting that team at is just not the price of teams anymore.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon